9. So number 10. So as we go across Canada, there'll be quite a bit of jumping. The only thing to connect here is very fascinating indeed. Is this is where I meet the twins, and I see a cow on the bed, medical bed. Oh, first off, yeah, okay, I see the cow on the medical bed, so that's how we define this contact event. First off, when I'm the contact event I'm on the road and I become the me that knows them, and there's a massive object in the sky. You know, massive objects can be in the sky and humans cannot know about it, is really the point I'm making here. And there's actually a very fascinating case in UFO BC. My girlfriend and we were in my little sports car heading up a long straight hill just north of 100 Mile House. Then we noticed a dark object far in front of us, which seemed to hover over the highway. Finally, I said to my girlfriend, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" There were no lights anywhere, no other vehicles on the highway, just this massive black oval shape hanging just a few hundred feet above the highway. I remember getting the chills, like my hair standing up on my skin. I mean, this was unexplainable. The estimated size of the object was at least a mile in diameter based on the speed we were traveling, which was just under its darkness. Based on everything I know of science and nature, there's no definitive explanation for this event. There's been a guy making comments on the YouTube videos, several different things I've been on. And every time he's saying, "Where are they?" I'm certain this is what it is. They're in massive objects and we just can't see them. I'm convinced the phasing is an ability for things to go through it. And you don't know you're going through it. It's like it's what the elder says to me, that they're not cloaked, but transparent, meaning light is going through it, which means I would imagine an object can go through it, meaning radar can't pick it up. And so they're phased in that kind of way. That's what I assume here. Like, how the hell are you having these objects in the sky and no one's ever knowing about it, right? So, okay, let's get to the cattle mutilations. So, another connecting piece here about this contact event. Sorry, lots of talking. Okay, again, my own brain is blown. The amount of cattle mutilations in northern Saskatchewan. I could never have known that, having this memory. I just pulled out the memory and just, reported the memory as it was. I saw a cow on the craft. Now, I didn't see it mutilated. I have to mention that I didn't see it mutilated, but it was a physical cow, and the premise being this was tied to cattle mutilations. Well, there were tons of cattle mutilations in the area. A farmer in North Saskatoon, right? Mutilated cows, right? Cattle mutilation mystery, all in different areas, Stockholm, Saskatchewan. And Ian, I've actually got a Linda Moulton Howe report here, and it's even further north. It's closer to the area than any of the other CBC reports, right? Cattle mutilations, glowing discs in Saskatchewan. She's pointing where they are, excuse me. And this is the cusp of the further north area I was going. We're talking really north stuff here, and Maidstone, Saskatchewan. This is what's going on, man. People are having paranormal experiences out in these areas. And so she's seeing, her report is, there's Maidstone right there. So I was in this green area. That's because I passed Flin Flon. So Linda Moulton Howe has a really, that's close. I mean, we're of course not close. We're talking hundreds of kilometers close, but still, man, I'm in the province with which cattle mutilations are occurring, and I have a memory of a cattle mutilation on the craft. So, again, always trying to put these pieces together. Do you know this report, Ian?
I'm not. I'm familiar with a lot of them from Canada. I just have to look at the specifics of that one. But it is a fascinating guess that you've picked up that there are so many going on, and over the years as well.
Yeah.
So, and I remember when you first mentioned that, almost as an aside, when you first brought this up, that there was a cow on there as well. And I said, "What? This is a significant part because other people have seen the cows on the craft as well."
Right.
You can see the classic mutilation cases there, where it's the jaw, and the other thing is, as we often observe, that they are often sky side up with mutilations.
Interesting. Sky side up. What does that mean, sky side up?
Well, the mutilation is usually on one side. The jaw is excised like that in a square section. We recently did this on Earth Files. We dealt with a case that was in, I believe,
Oh
where
my
was it now?
God. Okay,
Yeah,
so that's a crazy connection
it,
too. Because like
yeah,
that's what happens here. It's on a medical bed. It's not standing up, it's not alive. It's flat on a medical bed.
yeah,
So then the
yeah,
idea that they're going to cut it apart is, again, matches. It's another corroboration of what I saw, that this was something that was
exactly.
laying on its side and it was dead already. And then they mutilated and cut it up, as opposed to it being alive and standing, and then they're scissoring it or doing something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, usually, I believe the modus operandi is that the cattle or the cow is transported into the craft, the mutilation is carried out in the craft, and then the animal is then returned.
Yeah, yeah. And I lean towards, what they told me during that contact event, that they asked for permission. that they're interacting in a paranormal way, right? So they're able to talk to the consciousness of that animal, and then they're the ones saying, can we use you? And here's, like, I don't really know, but my guess is that literally they say, like, everything's a step of like an exchange of evolution, as it was for me, right? Like, let's do this experiment with you, and you'll learn, you'll evolve as well too. And so I kind of imagine something like that happens here. They're like, hey, if we can use your body, you can become like a gray alien, part of our society or something. And for the animal, it's an evolution step. And so they're like, oh, that's a really good idea, I love that idea. And then the gray aliens are like, great, and then they can take apart the body and use the pieces, right? Now, does that really happen? I don't know, but the idea of the exchange seems to be pretty prevalent, and you do recognize in your own research too that there seems to be a permission thing that seems to be part of at least the contact experience. So I for my belief system, it actually goes into the way they deal with animals and things like that as well too. So yeah, I can't speak for Missing 411 though, but definitely seems that way for the humans and the cattle mutilations. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we're still divided on what the purpose is of the cattle mutilations,
Yeah.
whether or not it's for genetic reasons, or a monitoring of environmental factors,
Right.
or sustenance, or maybe some of all of the above.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because wasn't in Missing 411, the UFO connection, David Paletti, sorry, he really links these elk mutilations tied to the possibility that they were monitoring, environmental factors, that they were looking
And
at, the brain disease.
chronic wasting disease
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what
yeah. So the idea that there's something, it's not that they're taking something. Again, they don't explain anything to me about what they're doing, so I don't really know. But also, I was going to ask you, but I already found out the answer. But I thought it was really interesting how many of the mutilations were occurring to human genetically modified animals, right? Cows, dogs, cats, horses. They're all over the thousands of years. They're genetically modified by humans, right? But it does seem to be more prevalent. But there are cases. I saw in the Linda Moulton House, there's a couple of cases of kangaroos and things like that, right? Like there are still. But what's your thought about? What's
Yeah,
your take on that? The genetically
all
modified
types
versus the.
all types of animals, but a lot of focus is on the cattle, but
Right.
also horses as well.
Yeah,
And
horses. Yeah.
often we find, and I found this myself when I've spoken to people who've had the animal mutilated, that they would say that was my best animal, that was the prime animal,
Oh,
which
right.
means if you remember those cases from Oregon a few years ago, a couple of years ago, or whatever, where 5 bulls were found, they were specifically, or let's say, targeted, and perhaps were some of the best animals of the herd. So it's very selective and specific,
Yeah.
this phenomenon.
Yeah. Not random. Specific. Yeah. Very interesting.